In a tumultuous landscape marked by shifting international alliances and internal political maneuvering, recent developments in China and its relations with the United States and neighboring countries have underscored the complexities of global power dynamics. The spotlight is on Chinese President Xi Jinping, whose latest directives and the reactions from surrounding nations were highlighted during the Politburo meeting, where safeguarding the regime was declared a top priority. Addressing the Communist Party's inner circle, Xi emphasized that bolstering national security remains paramount. He reiterated the significance of the Peaceful China Initiative, which he proposed to elevate to an even higher level in response to evolving global circumstances. To adapt to changes, the Peaceful China Initiative can only be strengthened and it cannot be weakened, Xi stated, according to reports from state news agency Xinhua. This initiative, first introduced in 2013, espouses a holistic approach to security encompassing political, economic, cultural, social, technological, and military dimensions. Simultaneously, tensions with the United States have escalated, particularly following Panama's decision to withdraw from a critical infrastructure agreement with Beijing. This maneuver is perceived as a concession to U.S. pressure regarding the Panama Canal, a vital artery for global trade. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian denounced U.S. actions as coercive, asserting that they undermine the Belt and Road Initiative, a cornerstone of Xi's foreign policy aimed at fostering infrastructure development across multiple countries. Lin noted that the initiative had involved over 150 nations, bringing fruitful results, though specific examples were not provided. Amid this backdrop, a noticeable shift is occurring within China's military representation in its political gatherings, particularly the National People's Congress (NPC). The military delegation's size has decreased from 281 to 267, with several members removed due to corruption investigations. This trend reflects Xi's ongoing campaign against corruption, which has disproportionately affected military personnel compared to other sectors. Observers suggest this reduction highlights Xi's consolidation of control over the armed forces, particularly as China navigates its competitive stance against the U.S. concerning Taiwan and the South China Sea. Analysts are closely monitoring these developments, especially as they pertain to China's economic strategies in light of rising U.S. tariffs that threaten to impact its export-driven economy. With expectations for a GDP growth target of 5%, China is anticipated to announce stimulus measures aimed at countering these external pressures. However, the military's recent setbacks in representation could pose questions about its influence in broader political discussions as Xi pivots towards a more economically focused agenda. The intricate interplay of these factors not only encapsulates the challenges facing Xi's administration but also sets the stage for future geopolitical shifts. As nations reassess their alliances and strategies, the implications for global trade, security, and diplomatic relations remain profound. Looking ahead, how Xi balances internal priorities with external pressures will be pivotal in shaping China's role on the world stage. In a significant address to the Politburo, Chinese President Xi Jinping underscored a renewed commitment to national security, declaring that safeguarding the political system is the paramount priority for the Communist Party. This statement comes amid a broader context of ongoing political and military maneuvers within China, highlighting the regime's focus on stability and control as it navigates a complex global landscape. During the meeting on March 1, 2025, Xi emphasized the importance of advancing the Peaceful China Initiative, a framework he first introduced in 2013 aimed at promoting a comprehensive approach to national security. To adapt to changes in circumstances and targets, the Peaceful China Initiative can only be strengthened and it cannot be weakened, Xi stated, according to the state news agency Xinhua. This initiative encompasses a holistic view of security that integrates political, economic, cultural, social, technological, and military dimensions. The backdrop of Xi's remarks is marked by a notable shift in the composition of military representatives at the upcoming National People's Congress (NPC), which convenes annually. The military delegation has seen a decrease in size, dropping from 281 members in 2023 to 267 this year. primarily due to ongoing anti-corruption purges that have led to the removal of several officials. This trend reflects Xi's intensified scrutiny of the armed forces, which he perceives as vital to maintaining the Communist Party's grip on power. Experts suggest that this reduction in military representation is not merely a numbers game, it symbolizes Xi's broader strategy to exert greater control over the People's Liberation Army (PLA) and ensure loyalty within its ranks. Lin Yu, a professor at Taiwan's Tamkang University, noted the reduced numbers of the military delegation will not have an impact on the NPC, but they certainly highlight Xi's continued push to assert his control over the armed forces. This sentiment resonates with the ongoing geopolitical tensions, particularly concerning Taiwan and the South China Sea, where military posturing has escalated in recent years. Moreover, the Chinese leadership is expected to prioritize economic recovery during this year's two sessions, with ambitious GDP growth targets set against a backdrop of rising U.S. tariffs that threaten to impact China's export-driven economy. As the Communist Party prepares to announce a growth target of approximately 5%, the emphasis on military efficiency and discipline underscores a dual focus on strengthening national defense while fostering economic resilience. In parallel, the government has reportedly advised its AI leaders to avoid travel to the United States due to security concerns, illustrating the pervasive atmosphere of caution that permeates China's technological and military sectors. This directive aligns with a broader trend of heightened scrutiny and regulation in areas deemed critical to national security. As China grapples with both internal challenges and external pressures, Xi Jinping's calls for a fortified regime and a streamlined military presence at key political gatherings signal an ongoing evolution in the party's approach to governance. Observers will be keenly watching how these developments unfold, particularly in the context of the global power dynamics that shape China's strategic landscape. The implications of these decisions will likely resonate well beyond China's borders, influencing regional stability and international relations in the years to come. As China embarks on a crucial year that will shape its economic trajectory through 2025, the nation's leadership is focusing on leveraging both domestic strengths and innovative strategies to navigate an increasingly complex global landscape. Following a notable uptick in economic performance since September 2024, recent analyses indicate a robust start to 2025 propelled by strategic stimulus measures aimed at addressing structural challenges while fostering new growth engines. This momentum comes amid rising external pressures, particularly as geopolitical tensions and trade frictions with the United States escalate. In a recent article published in the Communist Party's Choushi Journal, President Xi Jinping acknowledged the difficulties facing the Chinese economy but emphasized the stability and potential that underpins its long-term growth prospects. Xi's remarks highlight a dual approach, managing external risks while capitalizing on domestic opportunities, an essential balance as the country approaches the conclusion of its 14th five-year plan and prepares to unveil the 15th plan, which will outline strategies for sustainable growth through 2030. Central to this strategy is the harmonization of market efficiency with proactive governance. Xi has underscored the importance of a well-functioning government that knows when to intervene and when to step back. For instance, the National Development and Reform Commission (NDRC) recently introduced guidelines aimed at fostering a unified national market, intended to streamline operations across localities and government departments. This initiative is expected to reduce transaction costs, stimulate technological innovation, and enhance competitiveness, reflecting a broader consensus that China's economic future hinges on systemic efficiency rather than short-term fixes. Experts like Matteo Giovannini from the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China have pointed out that deregulating key industries and attracting private and foreign investments, especially in high-tech and green energy sectors, will be pivotal in driving this transformation. Restoring confidence among private enterprises will also be critical, as these firms are key engines of job creation and technological advancement, he notes. The Central Economic Work Conference in December 2024 laid the groundwork for these ambitious goals, emphasizing the need to ensure smooth economic circulation and enhance supply-demand dynamics. Michael Borchmann, a former head of European and international affairs in Germany, remarked on China's notable resilience, estimating an impressive 5% GDP growth in 2024 despite global economic headwinds. This reflects the steady expansion of domestic demand and the results of industrial transformation, he stated. However, challenges remain formidable. Issues such as a faltering property market, weak household spending, and elevated youth unemployment create significant headwinds for economic stability. As President Xi prepares for the upcoming National People's Congress, where Premier Li Qiang is expected to outline economic growth goals for 2025, the focus will be on how China plans to tackle these persistent issues. Analysts suggest that an ambitious growth target of around 5% is likely, though many view this as a challenging goal given the current economic climate. In light of potential tariffs and trade restrictions from the U.S., the Chinese government may need to amplify its economic support mechanisms. This could include interest rate cuts and expanded subsidies for consumer goods, as well as a broader push for technological self-reliance, particularly in high-tech sectors. The recent $47 billion investment into the country's largest-ever chip fund exemplifies this shift as Beijing aims to bolster its domestic capabilities in the face of external pressures. Looking ahead, the emphasis on technological innovation remains a cornerstone of China's growth strategy. Legislative discussions are set to highlight the cultivation of new quality productive forces through advancements in science and technology. This includes a push for breakthroughs in critical technologies and reinforcing the role of enterprises in fostering innovation, which many experts view as essential for transforming China's industrial landscape. In summary, as China positions itself for 2025, the interplay between internal reform and external challenges will be crucial. The nation seeks to not only stabilize its economy but also to redefine its growth model through innovation and resilience. With the groundwork being laid for significant policy shifts, the focus will be on how effectively these strategies can be implemented to foster sustainable growth amid an ever-evolving global landscape. China's ongoing anti-corruption campaign aimed at purging high-ranking officials within its military has raised pressing concerns regarding the operational readiness and morale of the People's Liberation Army (PLA). As the nation prepares for its prominent political event, the two sessions beginning on March 4, the absence of over a dozen military officials underscores a significant shakeup within the ranks that could have far-reaching implications for China's military capabilities. In a notable recent development, Tan Ruisong, former chairman of the Aviation Industry Corporation of China (AVIC), was announced as the latest casualty of this sweeping campaign. AVIC, a key defense contractor, has faced scrutiny from the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection (CCDI) following allegations that Tan accepted substantial bribes and exploited his position for personal gain. The lack of a public response from Tan or AVIC raises questions about the internal dynamics of the military-industrial complex, which has been significantly affected by the anti-graft measures. Experts suggest that these purges are less about genuine attempts to tackle corruption and more about consolidating President Xi Jinping's grip on the military. Over the past 2 years, more than 14 senior military officials have been dismissed, including high-profile figures such as General Li Yuchao, the head of the rocket force, and key defense ministers. This trend reflects a broader strategy by Xi to ensure personal loyalty among military leaders, particularly as tensions rise regarding Taiwan and the South China Sea. The purges may be indicative of Xi Jinping's need to mitigate potential dissent within the military as he navigates increasing geopolitical pressures, says Yoichiro Sato, a professor at Japan's Ritsumeikan Asia-Pacific University. The focus on loyalty over competence could ultimately undermine the effectiveness of the military, especially if key leaders are removed due to political motivations rather than genuine concerns about misconduct. The ramifications of these anti-corruption efforts extend beyond the immediate political landscape. Analysts warn that the ongoing turbulence within the PLA could impact its operational readiness, particularly in light of Xi's ambitions regarding Taiwan. Helena Lagarda, an analyst at the Mercator Institute of China Studies, notes that if she cannot guarantee the PLA's effectiveness in a potential conflict, he may be less inclined to engage in provocative actions against Taiwan or in the South China Sea. Moreover, the anti-corruption campaign has coincided with a reduction in the size of the military delegation at the National People's Congress. This year the delegation numbers 267, a decrease from 281 in 2023, reflecting a significant impact on the military's representation within China's political framework. As she consolidates power, the military's traditional influence appears to be waning, raising concerns about its future role in national security. In addition to the personnel purges, China has intensified its regulations on the dissemination of military information online, further obscuring the PLA's activities and capabilities. New rules prohibit the sharing of sensitive military data, creating an environment where even domestic observers face restrictions on what they can report. This move aligns with Xi's overarching strategy to enhance state security amid escalating geopolitical tensions. As the two sessions approach, all eyes will be on the military's representation and the potential fallout from these anti-corruption efforts. The implications for China's military readiness are profound, with analysts suggesting that the purges, while aimed at fortifying Xi's control, could inadvertently weaken the PLA's effectiveness at a critical juncture in regional security dynamics. Looking ahead, the interplay between political loyalty and military capability will be crucial as China navigates its ambitious military modernization agenda while contending with external pressures, particularly from the United States. The coming months will likely reveal whether Xi's strategy can maintain a balance between loyalty and operational readiness in one of the world's most formidable military forces. In a world increasingly characterized by uncertainty and geopolitical tension, nations are navigating complex diplomatic waters that prioritize transactional relationships over traditional alliances. This shift is particularly evident in the evolving dynamics between major powers, as seen in the recent interactions among the United States, India, and China. Such developments highlight a departure from the collaborative diplomacy of the past, raising critical questions about the future of international relations. The backdrop of this transformation can be traced to the post-World War era, when nations forged alliances based on mutual interests and interdependence. However, today's geopolitical landscape reveals a resurgence of transactional diplomacy, where countries seek to maximize benefits rather than engage in long-term strategic partnerships. The administrations of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in India and former President Donald Trump in the US exemplify this trend, showcasing how leaders prioritize immediate gains in a competitive global environment. India's foreign policy has long been described as a mix of transactional diplomacy and strategic autonomy. By skillfully navigating a complex web of geopolitical interests, including its relationships with Russia, the US, and China, India has managed to maintain a delicate balance. However, this approach has drawn criticism from Washington, which has expressed frustration over India's reluctance to commit to formal alliances. Notably, India's hesitance to militarize the Quad alliance and its participation in the BRICS summit in Russia have raised eyebrows among U.S. policymakers who are keen on countering Chinese influence in the Indo-Pacific. Despite these tensions, the Biden administration has largely overlooked India's multi-alignment strategy, recognizing its critical role in regional security. This was particularly evident in the handling of India's oil trade with Russia, where the U.S. refrained from imposing sanctions. Instead, the administration has focused on securing long-term agreements with India, emphasizing cooperation on security, defense, and nuclear issues. As Trump begins his new term, the India-U.S. relationship faces a potential redefinition, shifting towards a more transactional framework. Early indicators suggest that Trump's administration will prioritize American interests in areas such as trade and defense, seeking direct benefits from its relationship with India. This transactional approach is reinforced by Trump's strong personal rapport with Modi, which has fostered a sense of optimism in India regarding U.S. engagement. However, the road ahead is fraught with challenges. Trump's positioning against de-dollarization and his characterization of India as a trade abuser have raised concerns about the future of bilateral ties. The recent omission of an invitation for Modi to Trump's inauguration, coupled with the invitation extended to Xi Jinping, has further complicated the narrative. Such decisions could signal a recalibration of U.S. priorities, with Trump potentially pursuing closer ties with China and Russia at the expense of traditional alliances. Yet there remain opportunities for India amidst this shifting landscape. Trump's emphasis on economic partnerships could open doors for enhanced trade investment and technology exchanges. The recent agreements between India and the U.S., including commitments to purchase more American oil and discussions around advanced military technology, illustrate a growing, albeit transactional, cooperation. Looking ahead, the U.S.-India relationship is poised to evolve into a more pragmatic and flexible engagement model. As both nations navigate these uncharted waters, it will be crucial for India to adapt to a U.S. that prioritizes transactional benefits over strategic considerations. This evolution may yield significant returns for both countries, even as it alters the foundational nature of their partnership. In this context, the trajectory of American diplomacy, particularly concerning Taiwan, also warrants close attention. Experts suggest that China perceives a failure in U.S. diplomacy, particularly in light of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. This perspective may embolden China's ambitions regarding Taiwan, challenging American efforts to maintain stability in the region. As global dynamics continue to shift, the interplay of transactional diplomacy among major powers will shape the future of international relations. The ability of nations to balance immediate interests with long-term strategies will ultimately determine their standing on the world stage, making the coming years critical for understanding the evolving landscape of global diplomacy.